From Ascredit. Who is the biggest idiot in military history? Let's go. Francisco Solano Lopez. Leader of Paraguay, who started a war with Argentina, Brazil and Uruguay at the same time. This conflict was so disastrous that it cost Paraguay 60% of its population and left it with only 28,000 men in the entire country. They lost a quarter of their territory to the victorious nations. And of course created such political instability that in the following 66 years they had 32 presidents, 2 major assassinations, 6 coups and 8 failed revolutions. Gaius Flaminius. Knowing Hannibal war dangerous in the Second Punic War, he ignored the fact his intelligence said he was outnumbered, and he ignored the fact his patrols failed to report in during the morning, because Hannibal had successfully had them all killed in the night to reposition his army without Flaminius knowing. He then marched his army between a forest and a lake, in heavy fog that stopped him seeing any approaching enemy, because he assumed Hannibal, who knew his location, was going to stay at camp and just let the Romans assault them. His fellow consul basically begged him not to offer battle that day, but he wanted glory and ordered his army out. So of course the Hannibal's army just ambushed them from the forest in the fog and drove his army into the lake in a massive slaughter. Edit, this was the Battle of Trasimene. The fort formerly known as Bragg was named after one of the most comically unsuccessful military strategists and well-known piss-poor military leaders in American history. That airman who was posting military secrets to a Discord server just to win a stupid argument with teenagers and dipshits. Dude is sitting in prison right now for espionage/treason. Because he is that mentally challenged. Me. During a marksmanship test, I accidentally shot at the wrong target. Got yelled at and made fun of for it. Then on the next round I did it again . The range instructors could not fucking believe it. No one in military history is dumber than that. I'll take my fucking crown now if you don't mind. Caligula. Emperor Caligula made many bizarre decisions during his reign. Certainly one of them was declaring war on the god of the sea, Poseidon tilde Neptune. He ordered his soldiers to go to the beach and stab the sea and waves with their swords and throw spears at them. Ala al-Din Muhammad. When Genghis Khan asks you to trade and you respond by killing the messenger and all of the merchants, you are going to have a bad time. There was a ranking officer in the US Civil War who was repeatedly captured and released by the Union forces, Braxton Bragg, for being so incompetent that having him freed and in command was better than risking someone else leading. Essentially he won a few minor battles early and was promoted way over his competency and was terrible. Tsar Nicholas II or Napoleon III, Hitler. I'm not saying this just because of all the horrible shit he did, but because of the mistakes he made. He undermined great military minds. In particular, Rommel. Because he wasn't doing things the way Hitler wanted them done, despite huge successes against the Allies. His most egregious mistake was invading Russia, with who Germany had a non-aggression pact in place. Essentially splitting his forces, and making D-Day an inevitability. Louis Mountbatten. Many people in the Royal Navy called him the master of disaster for his antics during World War II. Hitler was pretty good at ignoring facts and moving foe armies to attack real foes. As a New Zealander I am here to remind you all once again that Australia lost a war against the emu bird, twice. The infographics show or Simple History did a video on this. It was easily that guy in South America that started a war with all his neighbors and got something like 90% of the war-age males and 66% of the general population killed. Not the biggest idiot ever, but I bet most of you never heard of him. Franz Conrad von Hutzendorf. Commander of the Austro-Hungarian army in the early years of World War I. Now there was a lot wrong with Austria's army in 1914, it was underfunded, badly equipped, badly trained, short on artillery, uniforms and basically everything. The officers were brave but nitwits, the rank and file were mostly reluctant conscripts from subject peoples and neither trained nor fit. It would take a special kind of man to take this army and turn it into victory. Franz Conrad thought he was that man. Franz Conrad apparently thought he was Napoleon. As it turned out, Franz Conrad was great at making plans but had no idea how to actually command. He decided to try and invade Serbia and Russia at the same time despite not having the manpower to do either properly. An entire army was sent to the Serbian front, then when they got there, promptly got told, "Well, actually, we need you to go to Russia in a bit, so don't unpack." He also didn't bother coordinating plans with the Germans, so while their plans were based on what the Austrians were supposed to be doing, Conrad was cheerfully doing his own thing. Not surprisingly, things went tits up very quickly, and Conrad's big plan was to demand his men keep charging into those Russian and Serbian guns, but harder this time. And not surprisingly, this led to massive casualties which Austria couldn't replace. I forgot to mention that Conrad was one of the loudest voices demanding war in the first place. He knew Austria was in a bad condition, went to war anyway, and made everything so much worse. What a dumbass. I will put in a bid for Douglas Haig, World War I, 425k lost at the Somme, 275k at Passchendaele, and a causative factor in the British Army's moniker for a while thereafter, lions led by donkeys. All I know is never get involved in a land war in Asia. Pierre-Charles Jean-Baptiste Sylvestre de Villeneuve. Let's keep the conversation going. Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below.